Hello, sir. What do you want to order?
Bon après-midi. Je vais commander le mien bon blanc d'ici, s'il te plaît. Et pour manger, je prendrai un choucroute alsacien et aussi un petit dessert. Tiramisu avec beaucoup de crème fraîche, s'il te plaît. Et alors, est-ce que tu ne veux pas mon argent? Allez, prends de ma nourriture.
Dude, you're in America.
Et quoi? T'as trouvé américain?
I don't speak French, I cannot even get you.
Mais tu dois, le français et l'anglais sont très similaires.
Similar? What are you talking about?
Les deux langues ont beaucoup de mots de la même origine, les deux langues parlent avec la même argot, et aussi, en les îles de la Manche parlent en français.
Dude, can you talk in English, please?
Exactement. Et aujourd'hui, je vais vous expliquer les similarités de le français et l'anglais.
Get out of here, please.
English is the most spoken language of the world, and yet it has so many words, slangs, idioms, and even names in French. But why is the English so French? Well, first of all, we have to understand the origins of this language. So let's get into the English, shall we? The English is a Germanic language from the west of Europe, so it is a West Germanic language. In fact, there are also an East group of Germanic languages, but they're all extinct. However, this made the Anglo-Frisian group of languages born, and from this group of languages is where the Old English comes from. The Old English was brought from Great Britain to England in the 5th century, but then we have the Normans that in the 11th century invaded England and took power and influence in the kingdom. In fact, England was close to become a colony from French, but for things of the history it didn't happen. But in summary, when William the Conqueror became the king of England, he and his people spoke in French, but the village spoke English. As a result, both languages mixed up and they simplified their way to communicate in both languages. I'm gonna explain this later, but talking about this historical event, England resists in the end until the king has to leave the kingdom. Okay, after all this information, we can check a little how English was before the Norman conquest. And to check it out, we have this. This is a text from the Peterborough Chronicles, and this is a text that contains Anglo-Saxon chronicles that shows how English was before the Norman conquest. I'm gonna try to read a little, so let's see how you can do it. Britannia Island is enta on Milalans. I don't know what letter is this. Frahond Brav Fenron on this is a thing. It is all what I know. Islander Pilde. I don't know how to read these things. It's so difficult and different from what I used to read. Whatever, this is not the only thing I have. We have also the Lord Spring of God, and somebody did translate it from the Old English to the English that we used to speak. But whatever, if you want me to talk more about the Old English, you can subscribe, give a like, and comment in the section below that you do really want me to speak about this interesting topic. Very well. After the contact of the Normans and England, English began to be written and spoken more like a Romance language. For example, they deleted letters and put other words and some other letters from the Romance language. They modified the phonetic and boom! We have the English that we know today. But seriously, what did English took from the French? First of all, let's check a little how is vocabulary in English from French. Well, the vocabulary that talks about the Catholic religion, the food, the arts, the war, the government, the laws, the jewelry, and the medicine comes from French. For example, we have justice and justice, prière and pray, we have bureaucracy and bureaucracy, and so on about these vocabulary. On the other hand, we have the meat that has two ways to be known. The one that represents the animal and the other one that represents the cooked animal. For example, if we say pig, a cooked pig has to be known as pork. We have also cow and beef that comes from the French bœuf and evolved to bœuf. And we have also mouton and mouton, venison as venison, and etc. English does this because French used to differentiate the animals from the food to different what they are eating and what the animal is. Other thing that make English so French is the fact that how French inspired English to be more simple in the grammar. Kind of. For example, there is this word, queen. This represents the queen, and the C and the W were replaced by a Q and a U. This was made to make English more similar to French. If you don't believe me, check out these words. Then we have this letter in the Old English that represent the T sound, but they combine the T and the H to make this sound and to be more similar like the French and the consonant combination of the same. And they have a lot of words with the vowel combination of French. For example, we have the word beautiful that use E, A, U vowel combination of the French, and it comes from the word beau. Other examples are the AU in words like lunch, cough, because, and so on. Then we have like AU in words like eulogy, Europe, and so on. Then we have the UE in words like argue, rescue, etc. And finally we have the OU, and this is the most common of the other ones. This sounds mostly exactly the same like in French, for example in the words could, should, would, soup, and so on. But often this is not like that. We have also words like enough, sound, thou, out, true, that doesn't sound like the others. Maybe this is why these vowel combinations are so weird, because it comes from the French. Another fact that you may know about English is that there is a lot of letters that doesn't sound in a lot of words. For example, there is the last E in these whole examples, or the words scene, muscle, castle, etc. Yeah, if you're wondering, this comes from French, and there's a lot of letters that doesn't sound in a lot of words. Also, we have thou. Thou was the first way to refer to you in the Old English, but then it evolved to ye, and finally it evolved to you. It was made like that to be more similar to the French vous that sounds like you in singular or plural. There's a lot of expressions and words took directly from French to English as francophonic words. For example, we have the word façade, that is the front of a building. They also use the word voilà to show something amazing, and they also use tout de suite to say right now in England. They also have bureau or bureau from French, that is literally an office. But did you know that French use a lot of slangs, idioms, and words that directly comes from English? For example, they say stop, cool, weekend, and campaign. The young people also speak with the language that they use in internet, but this language usually comes from English. And finally, the most funny thing of the English is that they have a way to say in French that is so similar to that word, and it is somehow French influenced so much the English language as to be so similar as a Romance language, and this being a Germanic language. But remember something, a language is not defined by its roots, it's defined as the people choose to speak it. Thanks for watching, and if you want to keep learning about interesting topics about linguistics or languages, you can subscribe to this channel and check my other social medias. I also teach English and French as well, so if you want to communicate with fluency, you can check my bio, contact me, and know more about these two languages. I'm the Geek Polyglot, and I'm gonna see you the next time.